Alright, so here's what's going on and why everyone's freaking out about the economy this week. You might have seen something on the news about the stock market crashing or Trump dropping new tariffs, and maybe it sounded complicated or like some far-off political thing, but this is actually a big deal for regular people like us. Let me break it down. A few days ago, on April 2nd, Trump gave this dramatic speech where he declared what he's calling Liberation Day. He basically said that the US is done getting ripped off by other countries when it comes to trade. And so, he announced a massive new round of tariffs. A tariff is just a tax the government puts on stuff we import, stuff we buy from other countries. His plan? A flat 10% tariff on everything the US imports from anywhere starting April 5th. But it doesn't stop there. He also added extra, much bigger tariffs for certain countries, like a 34% tariff on goods from China and around 20% on stuff from the EU. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in goods suddenly getting a massive price hike. The markets went into full-on panic mode almost immediately. The day after the announcement, the Dow dropped about 1,600 points. The next day, it dropped another 1,600 something. By Friday, April 4th, the day I'm filming this video, it had lost over 2,000 or more points. So within 3 days, the market shed trillions of dollars in value. The S&P 500 fell 6%, which is its worst week since the COVID crash back in 2020. And the Nasdaq officially slipped into bear market territory, which means it's down more than 20% from its recent peak. So this isn't just a blip, it's a full-blown meltdown. Now, Trump's reasoning is that these tariffs will force other countries to play fair. He says they've had unfair advantages for decades, low tariffs on their side, high ones on ours, and he wants to force them to drop theirs by hitting them hard. He also keeps repeating the line that tariffs will bring back American manufacturing, saying that if it becomes more expensive to import stuff, companies will finally be motivated to bring jobs back to the US. But here's where that logic starts to fall apart. First off, modern supply chains are way more complex than they were in the past. Like, your iPhone isn't made in one country. It's designed in California, but the screen comes from South Korea or Japan. The chip comes from Taiwan, and it's assembled in China. Same thing with cars, laptops, even food products. So when you put a tax on goods coming from those countries, it raises the cost of the final product no matter where it ends up being sold or assembled. There is no neat made in America solution anymore because everything's interconnected. That means US companies now have higher costs, and they'll pass that on to us, the customers. So yeah, you might see higher prices on everything from TVs and phones to cars, clothes, and even groceries. And it's not just that prices go up. Other countries aren't going to sit back and say, "Oh, okay, America, you win." They're already retaliating. China immediately announced its own 34% tariffs on US exports, and they're also restricting exports of rare earth minerals we rely on for electronics and green tech. The EU is expected to respond next week. That puts American companies that sell products overseas in the crosshairs. Think agriculture, tech, even Boeing, big exporters who could suddenly lose huge portions of their customer base. And when companies lose customers, they scale back. Layoffs start, plants close, towns and communities feel it. Then you've got the ripple effect from the stock market crash. I know it's easy to think the stock market is just something rich people gamble on, but most of us are tied to it whether we like it or not. If you've got a retirement account, like a 401k, it's invested in the stock market. If you're saving for a house or college, or just trying to build some financial security, this kind of drop can set you back for years. It can even affect your ability to get a loan, since lenders get more nervous in the shaky economy. And speaking of the economy, experts are starting to sound the alarm. The Fed chair, Jerome Powell, came out and flat out said that these tariffs are likely to cause higher inflation and slower growth. Economists at JP Morgan have upped the odds of a US recession to 60%. That's not just academic talk, that's real-world pain. That means slower hiring, more layoffs, higher prices, and tighter budgets, all because of a trade war that didn't need to happen. And look, it's not like the US hasn't had legitimate grievances with how other countries trade. There are imbalances, but the way Trump's going about it is like trying to fix a computer with a sledgehammer. It's blunt, messy, and doesn't take into account how complicated the modern global economy is. Instead of negotiating targeted fixes, He's just torching the whole system and assuming it'll magically snap back in our favor. But that's not how this works. So now we're in this situation where everything, from your job to your groceries to your retirement savings, is being affected by a policy that most experts, both left and right, say is based on outdated thinking and faulty assumptions. And if this keeps escalating, it's not going to be just about numbers on a screen. It's going to start hitting home in a very real way. Thank you for watching today's video. Like and subscribe if you're here for straightforward, no-fluff political news coverage. I'm Addison Voss. See you in the next one.